Hello and welcome to Thomas Geiger Car. Today with the long-awaited Mercedes C63 AMG, the power cruiser out of Falterbach that competes with cars like a BMW M3 or an Audi RS4. But the wait is not over yet, because it will take until summer 2023 until this car really hits the roads and gets into the hand of its customers. If you're keen to know what to expect from that vehicle and not willing to wait until next summer, join me on my test drive and I'll tell you more about it. At the first look, this car looks like you'd expect it from a C63. Bold, powerful, and even more present than before, because the fenders are wide, the bonnet is very muscular, we have these air outlets up here, we have the typical Panamericana grille, so this car speaks about power. But AMG is talking about a beginning of a new era, and to witness why this era is really new, we have to open the hood and look what engine this car is being driven by. The engine bay of the C63 is still pretty packed, but the 8-cylinder is gone. Now we have only 2 liters of displacement and 4 cylinders left. At least it's the most powerful 4-cylinder in a serial production car with 476 horsepower alone. And this engine does not have to do the job by itself. As we know it from the AMG GT 4-door coupe, it is combined with a plug-in module and an electric motor that propels another 204 horses, adding up to 680 horsepower. That's 170 horsepower more than the outgoing model and way above all the competition. So still the most powerful sedan in the segment. And the good thing on that is the fuel efficiency is rising, consumption is going down, and you can at least go a little bit on electric power only. Not as much as you know it from the other Mercedes plug-in hybrids, but 10-12 kilometers should be feasible, enough to get you out of your compound and up on the open road. I can't wait to finally get going in that machine and to start the engine. But since it's such a powerful car and a very fast car, we better take a bit of time to get familiar with the interior while standing still. And it's not a difficult thing to do, because it is a C-Class, and even if AMG has enhanced the design, mounted different seats and all that stuff, it is pretty standard and you're very well familiar. The biggest difference is once you go into the MBUX system and you figure out there are some more icons on the main screen. For one, the charging, because you can adjust when and how to charge, have different programs, can preset all your charging things. But that's not all. There are a few more apps on it. We have the Amg Performance App showing you the status of the vehicle, showing you the power delivery of the motor and the engine, showing you suspension setup and all that stuff. And a nice detail, since AMG has partnered with IWC, the famous Swiss watch company, you don't have a digital watch. No, you have an analog clock on the digital screen. And if you go to the next icon on the screen, the AMG Track Pace app, the fun really starts. As long as you're on a racetrack, you can train the perfect line, for example, on the Autodromo in Monza, and see how to go there. You'll have even an app that allows you to go drag racing with your friends. So all the stuff. And if you want to analyze how you performed and how the vehicle performed, you have the telemetry like you have it in the Formula One paddock. But now it's definitely time to get going, to start the engine and to make the test drive. Finally getting going, and the first impression is a pretty new one and a bit weird, because usually you expect AMG to go up with a roar, and here you hear just a fancy computer noise and the air vents blowing, but you start in total silence. Nevertheless, you can go on, and here we are with the full engine power. As I said, 680 horsepower, more than 1,000 Newton meters of torque. That is AMG as you're used to it. But we're heading for a tunnel, and then we'll figure out how the new engine sounds. And yes, there is quite a bit of noise, especially when you go into the sports mode or in the sports plus mode with the noise enhancement. So there are some emotions, it's just a different tune. It is like you tune from AC/DC or another hard rock band like Metallica to new K-pop. A little lighter, a little more fancy, not as powerful as you're used to it. Nevertheless, the car drives like hell. It goes around the corners even better than before because for the first time ever you have a rear wheel steering in the vehicle, making it even more agile, and you have for sure four-wheel drive, now fully flexible, giving you also more choices and more safety when you go around the corners quickly. Even if you find a long enough straight, you can accelerate from 0 to 100 in 3.4 seconds. So there is a reason for the drag race app I already showed you. And if the straight is even longer, you can easily reach the 250 kilometers per hour, which is the usual limit. And if you opt for the AMG driver's package, you can go up to 280 kilometers per hour and start chasing Porsches. So when it comes to the electric part of the drivetrain, AMG has a different approach than Mercedes. While in the standard production vehicles it's all about range and low emissions, for AMG it's all about performance. They're not building in the biggest battery, no, they're building in the lightest battery. And they're not looking for the highest energy density, they're looking for the highest energy output and the most regen capability of the battery. So this is a very, very fast battery with lots of technology transfer from the Formula 1 and the Formula E, making it possible to really regen a lot of energy. So if you go down a mountain pass and if you do it very quick and if you use the brake real hard at the hairpins, the battery will be full again once you're down. And if you use it for kickstarts every time, for overtaking and for accelerating after the curves, this battery will not flatten out and will not be tired. It will deliver all the time full power. The bad side of it is that it doesn't really work too good as an electric drivetrain. You only have about 10 to 12 kilometers driving electric, and full speed electrically is about 140 kilometers per hour. So if you want an electric car, then better go for an EQE 43 AMG or 53 AMG or the EQS, or wait until a fully electric dedicated AMG model will hit the roads. AMG is making quite a good use of all the electric and electronically controlled systems for steering, suspension, drivetrain, all-wheel drive, and is giving the car very different characters. Once you change the drive mode here on the little button in the steering wheel, the car really shows different sides. On the comfort mode, it is quite powerful but very tame, giving you a relaxed ride with just the chance to overtake whenever you want to. If you go up to Sport or Sports Plus, it's really showing its muscles and its teeth. It's engaging its claws. It's really gripping the road and engaging you to go faster than you most probably should. And if you go into the race mode, then the electronics is limited to the real base security system, and the driver is in control of all of it. You better don't try it on a public road, because then it really can be risky and you tend to lose the car in corners. And on the other hand, we have two more drive modes that we don't know from standard AMG models. We have an electric drive and we have the battery save mode. Means you can save the status of your battery as the given point and save the energy, for example, for going home and for driving the last mile to your home electric. And if you want to say, I go electric right now, then you go into the EV, or here in the EL for electric mode, and the 4-cylinder will be shut off and you only drive on battery power. Mercedes has not been talking about the prices yet, because start of sales will be towards the end of the year and delivery not before summer next year. But it will not be a cheap toy, that's for sure. You have the most powerful 4-cylinder engine on the market. You have a lithium-ion battery, you have an electric motor, and quite a bit of luxury. That should well add up to a price tag with 6 figures. A rough estimate for Germany is about 100,000 euros, and you can calculate what this will mean to your market. Thanks for joining me on that first ride with the new Mercedes-AMG C63. A car that definitely opens up a new era. It ends the era of the famous V8 and it begins the era of 4 cylinders and electrifications. And it's true, the emissions go down, but the emotions somehow as well. People say this is combining the best of two worlds, and definitely you have more performance and less emissions. You have the good old AMG world and a bit of new electricity. So far, so true. On the other hand, you can also say it's neither fish nor meat, because it is not a V8, not even a V6 or an R6. It's just 4 cylinders like in a compact car. And if you love it electric, you only can go up to 140 kilometers per hour and only for 10-12 kilometers. So both not perfect. My suggestion is enjoy this vehicle for a while and wait for the first fully electric AMG dedicated car that is just around the corner and will be launched towards the mid of the decade. Or go collect your money and buy a classic, an outgoing model or an even older V8, and enjoy the old world.